So, hey guys, welcome to the first ever episode of the You Chat Too Much podcast. I am your host, Camila Gams, and I'm so excited because I have Zoe with me today, hailing from the wonderful island of Antigua and Barbuda. And just a little quick information about her. She's a Caribbean feminist, activist, and storyteller, a trained lawyer, if you didn't know, but turned a grant maker, content creator, and she's very passionate about gender justice, LGBTQ rights, and the power of gratitude. So for those who know Zoe, you might know about her mantra, which is life nice, thank you more, please. But for those who have no idea who she is, this is about that reflects her deep appreciation for life's joys, which either big or small. She's an avid traveler, has visited 25 countries, passport, got some stamps in it, guys, stamps, and embraces new cultures with curiosity and openness. And of course, for the advocating, exploring, or creating, Zoe believes in embracing possibility, trusting the journey, and making space for joy in all aspects of life. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I feel so good to be here. Quite honored, actually. Like, this is definitely a reason for me to say life nice. Thank you more, please.
I appreciate that. I thank you. Now I just feel like I'm exuberating in some kind of joy and happiness. I'm kind of excited. But before we get into like deep into our conversations, you mentioned that, you're a trained lawyer. You got the big papers, the big degrees, but you're just like, you know what? I'm going to focus more on the activist side of things or being this content creator. What was that shift? Like what inspired that shift?
So I will always like to say that one of the things is I grew up in a home where I saw my mother in particular pivot when she felt like she needed to pivot. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was always a foundation I had. But I also had parents who didn't think that I needed to practice law in one particular way. So my mom and my stepdad were very open from the very beginning to me using my law degree as a stepping stone, right? I think that was very useful. But I am what you call, I would say I'm a very multifaceted
Mm-hmm.
individual. And so I did law, went to law school. Actually, so I went to UE in Cave Hill, Barbados, the
Mm-hmm.
best UE. So just need to put that out there. And I took a gap year immediately after I finished my degree, my undergrad degree,
Mm-hmm.
and I had started a business during that gap year. It's now closed, but I used to sell jewelry, as you can tell by my adornments.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so when I came back from law school in Jamaica, I came back in the pandemic, and I also had decided, very, very chaotically, to some, but to me it felt right to not go straight into practice and
Mm-hmm.
focus on my business. So I did that for about a year and a half, like consistently, from about 2021 almost into 2023, where that's what I was doing. And then I went into practice in, I think the year was, I think it was 10, 2021. I don't know. I can't remember, but I went into practice, and although I was doing really good work, some of the work I was working with the government, at legal aid, there was
Mm-hmm.
just a lack of fulfillment that I was feeling. And life is funny, things happen. You meet people. I'd been an activist in the gender justice and LGBTQI space for some time, and a few opportunities had opened themselves to me. And also this feeling of like I wasn't happy where I was. It was this overarching feeling, so I knew I wanted to do something different. And I remember the job I currently have now. Um, I had been applying for jobs that I was seeing online. I'd kind of scoped out what I wanted, and I knew I didn't want to be in an office. I knew I wanted to do meaningful work. I knew I wanted a level of flexibility, but to be really making impactful change. And this role I'm in, I saw it online and I said, wow, I could do everything here. I could do this. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. And the rest is history. Um, so I'm a lawyer who I like to say I'm retired. Um, and it's only like you're 28. How can you be retired? But I'm definitely retired. But I could come out of retirement if I feel like.
That's very true. And plus, if you're a good liar, you're a good liar regardless. You know, you could just
Or
do whatever you want. Just be like, I'm back. What you guys gonna do about it? Basically,
exactly.
I agree. And I like how you talk about that pivot. Like it's just like something. If I feel like I want to do it, I can do it. Who's gonna stop me? And so I guess we're gonna go into like you being that activist in these spaces. It is no secret, no joke, no something hiding that the Caribbean in general, the region, we are like very just in your face, box up in your face. Is just like wow. Like for example, the government of St. Martin officially announced that you can register, not that you can marry, but you can register same-sex marriages in St. Martin. And the comment section under that post
Mm.
was just like, I've seen people saying like, oh, and this is why we're gonna get hit by another Hurricane Irma. And I'm just like, whoa, what?
Like, how did
Because
we get here?
you can register a marriage. I was just like, and I was explaining it to some of my friends from Angola too, and they were like, wait, why we gotta get the collateral damage because of this? Like, this ain't making any sense.
Hmm.
Um, so like we know the environment that we in. So how has that been like, these last couple of years for you?
For me personally, I have not I have not dealt, and this is where I have to be honest about my privilege. I have not dealt with a lot of backlash that may be um more mass presenting. For example, if you identify as you're cis or cis woman and you identify, but you're more mask presenting. I haven't dealt with a lot of backlash in that context. Additionally, for example, trans activists in the region, they would go through way more than I would go through. And I know there's certain levels of privilege that I experience being cisgender, my career, blah, blah, blah. So I always like to ground myself in the reality. It's the privilege that I have, and so I'm not mindful of it. But what I will say is, I know there are people who don't want to work with me. I know people who have said things about, I've been in a work environment where one of my colleagues, I, I guess I blame myself. I had saved her number for something. We didn't have each other's number, but I'd saved her number for something in my phone, and I'd posted a picture of myself and my partner at the time. And well, um, the next couple months working with her were hell. There were moments where she refused to speak to me, and I wasn't really gonna go and address, oh, she's
Mm-hmm.
refusing to speak to me because I'm not even gonna dignify that with a response, right? But that it did make me uncomfortable in the work environment. I knew people, but they will whisper, people would try to imply and ask questions, but it's none of your business. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'll tell you the honest to God truth. The the greatest challenge I have had with my queer identity, being an activist, and just living has been from, unfortunately, my family. Um, for me, that's where I've experienced the greatest backlash. I don't really care about what other people like. The people I meet on the side of the road, I really couldn't care. And even with my family, I have had to come to a point where I don't care. I love my family,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody's gonna dictate my life. But that was one of the greatest challenges I had when I came out to my family, and I had come out very quote unquote late in life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm still young, so late for where I am in life, and that was based off of who your family is.
Mm-hmm.
You know who your family is. You make a decision, and I made a very clear decision in my life that I wasn't gonna do it unless I was particular um, in a particular position, and that would be that I was not financially reliant on them, and that I was able to protect my peace in every aspect. Um, but it has been challenging. Also, like I have friends who, in their own context, things are much more difficult. Experience nobody has physically violated me, and that is something I am grateful for. But at the same time, as an activist, and why I try to speak up and why I'm very open about my identity on social media or when I'm in public anywhere is because I have a certain level of privilege, and it's important that people can see me, and I can use my voice to amplify people who have less privilege and who are in more unfortunate situations than I find myself. Um, and so I'm also a person who you can engage me on these topics. Now you can't come with me with disrespect,
For
but we can
sure.
talk about it. We can
Hmm.
talk about it. But the Caribbean, I want to give some context in the Caribbean. The Caribbean is such a particular enigma, I find,
Hmm.
because what slavery and religion have done to the region, um, I I always say, slavery, religion, capitalism, those three entities there, they are they're very powerful, right?
Yes, they are.
And in the Caribbean region in particular, I think we struggle with and we struggle with an identity, and
Hmm.
so people hold on so tightly to particularly Christianity, other forms of religion, but I always speak about Christianity because that's what I know about.
Hmm.
That's what I grew up in, and people hold on to it so tight in a dogmatic approach that they need to feel, they need to feel a sense of, I don't even know what to call it, but also when it comes to the issue of homosexuality in the Caribbean, it's this concept of, for me, it's one thing. It's many things, but this one thing is that people want to feel like they have something over people,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
And homosexuality gives them that. I always
Hmm.
tell people, like, you could be a murderer, you could be a liar, you could be a rapist, you could literally be the scum of the earth, but but you would still be the worst thing if you were queer in the Caribbean. Really, like you could be all kind of, and we see it. We see it in politicians. We see it in the celebrities that we are fans of. And this is not pointing any fingers at anybody. It's just the reality of it all.
Hmm.
Like being queer in so many cases is the worst thing that you can be, no matter your accomplishments, no matter how brilliant, no matter how kind, no matter what. It's like this big scarlet letter on you,
Yeah.
and it's hard, right? um it is hard. It's been hard for me, like, as I said, with that coworker I worked with. It's just somebody who I was fairly cool with, like,
Hmm.
we were best friends, but I didn't have no issue with her, and then I come into work and you won't speak to me. And
Yes.
that, my experience, is just a small experience in what many people are facing. I want to lift up my friend, an activist colleague, Arden David, who is currently missing in Antigua and Barbuda. And Arden is an LGBTQI activist. He was a part of our seminal case that challenged the Buggery laws
Yes.
in
Yes.
Antigua and Barbuda. And Arden is missing, and it breaks my heart to see the comments, to see the commentary on social media. Like, if Arden is not a person, like if they're not people who don't love Orden, um and like it's hard. I don't want to imagine the worst, but
Mhm.
he has experienced violence in the past based on his identity, and now it's like, is this because of that? Like, what is it? And someone missing your mind goes to so
The
many different
worst.
places.
Yeah.
And I have wondered, I'm not accusing anybody in terms of like people who have power, but I'm like, I hope people are putting the resources in and not skimping on resources because of his identity. Um, and I just really wish Order would be found. And I wish people in Antigua in particular, like, would be able, like, where's your humanity? Because you mean to tell me somebody's missing and all you can find as a comment is about their gender expression, their identity, and their sexual orientation. That's the only thing you could take your fingers to say, to type, and your mouth to say. I've heard some things and I'm like, of all the things you could open your mouth to say, And so I just, it's a hard experience, but it is not one that I think, not one that I shy away from. As I said, because of my privilege, and besides my privilege, because I deserve to live. I deserve to live out loud, and people like me, that's what we deserve. And ain't nobody gonna stop me. Like, I mean, I know I have put myself at risk and I continue to, but it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. And it's always, I think it's always fascinating to me in the sense of like you talk with it. It's like, why is always the first instant? And unfortunately, sadly, you also see it too when we talk about missing children, especially if it's a
Oh,
girl,
missing
right?
girls? Mm.
We always go into some accusatory action or
Mhm.
something like that instead of being like, oh, maybe I did see them so and so here or there, or so, like, actually put in some effort to, I don't know, find the person, or for a place or region that is like, yes, we are a Christian nation and stuff. Why are you not putting out your prayers, putting on the things that supposed to be bringing comfort instead of strife? When you just, I don't know, it is settled in my spirit. I just feel it
I
weird.
I am always confused about Christians, um, and their lack of Christ-like behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm always like, based on what I know about Christ,
Mm-hmm.
you think Christ would appreciate these comments you've made, the inaction, the like. I'm like, okay, so you think you're gonna get to heaven, and what you're gonna be heard is, well done, because you condemned all those people who needed you just because of their identity. Like, is that what you think is gonna happen? And that is always baffling to me, especially with the young girls. But it says a lot about our socialization, um, as Caribbean people, how we perceive issues, girlhood.
Mm-hmm.
It's our blackness, it's our Caribbeanness, especially how we perceive young black Caribbean girls,
Mm-hmm.
and gender based violence. That's a whole lot of I could I could talk on that wax poetic forever. Um, but it really is just it's hard to see. But for me, more than just saying it's hard to see, I feel like I have to do something.
Yeah.
And my gift, I think that I have been given, my talent, one of them at least, is my voice. I have the gift of gab, and so I never shut it up.
Yeah, I agree. You
So,
you gotta be loud. You gotta be out there. People ask me all the time, like, why so and so don't like you? And I just like, cause I always saying something. like, like
yeah.
you always gotta say something. Try to be, because we all aren't perfect in the sense. I think one
Uh-huh.
thing that has stuck with me forever. Like, my fifth grade teacher has a poster that's always said, "Practice make better." Like, she was like probably the first person that really was like, doesn't like focus a lot on perfectness but betterness. And if you have the
Uh-huh.
ability to make the place better and use your voice and just make the world like not ugly and scary like it currently is, at least within your community and stuff like that, I feel like it's a big thing. But is there anything that you have, I guess, working now, or like programs or things that, pushing in a way that, maybe people who aren't aware, they can learn more, they can, you know, be interested.
Um, Let me see. So you mean in my grant making,
Yes,
or
in I guess all aspects, obviously. Like, what's over?
uh, um, I right now, like where I work, we have no open calls, so I don't want to put anything out there and get anybody, intrigued about something that I can't do.
Mhm.
Um, but really, I do know I'm gonna amplify something that I am working on. Um, Frida Frida Fund for Caribbean activists. They will be launching a call for applications globally this year, but also for Caribbean activists. I can't specify like details. They'll come up with what are the target groups, but
Mhm.
that's something for anybody who is working in the space. I would say to just look out for. Um, I want to continue to amplify many of the organizations in the region. And I would just really want to say to people, use your voice, use your platform. It's as simple as sharing. It's as simple as like correcting somebody. It's as simple as like not engaging with harmful content. Like these things matter. Um, I just really want to stress that to people. The, it's the little actions. It's not because you got up on a podium today. Like, no, it's about how you live every day, how you engage every day, what you do, especially when nobody is looking. And just to amplify that, regardless of your religion, your beliefs, it's people you're talking about. At the end of the day, is a person. And we all have our things. Um, some things should not be, I shouldn't have to talk about and say we have our things, but we all have our things. And so just remember at the end of the day, it's people. I always like to go back to the fact that whatever we're talking about, when we're talking about issues, we're talking, whether it be LGBTQI, gender justice, climate change, small island developing states, whatever it is, it affects people at the end of it, no matter what it is.
Oh, sure. That is so true. I guess slight pivot. I don't know. Hope if you're pivoting into joy now, because I'm gonna be so honest with you, right? I think the
Mm-hmm.
first time I followed you on Instagram, and then 2 days later you were like, "Life nice, thank you more, please." And you're like, "What makes you say life nice?" And I was just sitting down, and I was just like racking the back of my brain, and I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
"I'm stressed right now. I have nothing to say," and I just went to the next story. And I was just like, I don't know. But then like more and more, like as you post your content and things like that. And I was just like, okay, maybe I do need to think a little bit more about, even if it's the small things, even if I'm having like the worst
Mm-hmm.
possible day ever. How did you get to that stage where you were just like, yeah, I need to, this is how I'm going to function?
Okay, so I feel like as long as I can remember, I did have a sense of joy and gratitude, but I like to say that like my memory will tell me that I started cultivating my gratitude practice in university. And university was a very critical time in my life. I was 17 years old when I left Antigua to go live in Barbados. Sometimes I wonder why I went away when I was 17 to go live by myself. Sometimes I'm like, what? Like when I look back, it's been a little over 10 years now. And I'm just like, what the hell was I doing at 17, right? But there were times where I was struggling when I first went to university. And I remember, going to some self-help books, some of them YouTubes, and people talking really about gratitude. And gratitude transformed my life. Like it made an ordinary day an extraordinary day. It made the slightest things so much better. And over time, gratitude has also been a great tool for me to manifest. I can only say that I am where I am in life because I'm grateful. I mean, there's work, there's whatever, blah blah, but it's because I was grateful for where I was, and I was grateful for what was coming, even though I couldn't see it. Um, I think is why I'm in this position, even to be talking to you. But joy is at the center of everything I do because I think with joy and gratitude you have hope. And in the world that we live in, especially right now, hope is something that we need. And it's hard to see hope to be hopeful for a future if there's nothing in your present that you can find joy in. Um, and I'm not, and I don't, for me, gratitude is not, like a panacea. It is not meant to negate the realities in front of me, but there are multiple realities in front of me, and I choose to lean in actively to the ones that are most beautiful, and that align with the vision of the world that I believe in. This doesn't mean that I'm not going to be like, well, you know, it's kind of crazy. Well, it's not kind of crazy. The US, for example, is literally having a coup.
Don't
And
remind
we're
me.
just like literally. And, but at the same time, I'm gonna say something that might be a little controversial here. There can be joy, not joy, but I can be grateful that the illusion of this US as quote unquote democracy um is being, the veil is being unlifted,
Yeah.
right? And people are recognizing, like for example, USAID has blocked so much foreign aid, so many stop work orders. And this means that there's a lot of work, and this is heavy because this affects, not my job, but people I know and I work with and who have organizations and programs that are really impactful. This affects so much progress in the world, right? And but at the same time, I can say, hopefully through us realizing that USAID ain't it, we can come up with better models of philanthropy, mutual aid, helping each other and changing the world. And so um it is my center. And it's funny, Camila, that you said, like, you racked your brain at first, because gratitude is like that. Like having a gratitude practice is a muscle building practice. Um because I could, before I used to be like, well, I guess I'm grateful for like waking up. And like maybe it would have been like I'm waking up, breath in my lungs. But over time you start to be able to find more and more things to be grateful for. Um and a lot of people actually tell me similarly like that when I do that post about like what made you say life nice, thank you, more please this week or whatever. They're like, I don't know, but over time, when they see what I share and other people share, it has helped them to be like, that is something to be grateful for. Um, and what I like to say is gratitude is exponential. So once you start exploring gratitude, one of the things you will find is that you'll find more things. Um, so for example, I'll just do like one, maybe we can do one together. So I'm grateful to be on this call with you, right? That's one thing. If you share something else, if you don't mind, share something with me that you might be grateful for in this moment.
I am also grateful that you're on this call too as well. I feel
Okay.
like big achievement, honestly.
I love that. This is a big achievement for me as well. But I will use ripping off, and we're staying on the theme of the podcast. I'm grateful that technology allows us to do this. So like that's two things. And then I'd go like, I'm grateful that I have headphones. I packed headphones with me in my suitcase so that I could do this and not be struggling with audio. And then I could go, I'm grateful the light in the room is good because I'm not in my controlled environment. Like it can continue to go on and on and on. And it's just for us to look. Um, I also think, you see, gratitude and hope and imagination, because I think they're all tied up, joy. They're powerful tools of resistance. Because these systems that we live in are literally banking on our despair. They're banking on our lack of imagination. If I'm in a constant state of despair, I can't imagine an alternative future. I can't even begin to organize for an alternative future. I can move in a different way. But if I know that, listen, I have made it out of tough storms into where I am now, I'm grateful for that. And I know that I can do it again. It's if I can it is possible, right? If I can do some crazy imaginative stuff, um, that I thought like I can, and sometimes not even crazy. Like Camila, it might be, and maybe it's crazy to you, but you want to do a podcast and you do it, and you can find the gratitude in like, I had an idea and I took it from idea into reality. And you can be grateful and you can recognize, wait, I have that power to take something from idea into reality. It makes you go, okay, well, I guess I could do a mutual aid with my people.
Yeah.
Hmm. I guess I could challenge the buggery laws and my cut. Like it keeps going and going and going. And so it starts with like the small things, and then boom, we're into a new future. Um, and so I'm really hoping that my mantra, my presence on the internet and in the world can really help shift this context we're living in currently.
I agree. That's fun. And when you talk about like being in despair and how that impacts like imaginative and stuff. Like I agree with you so much because I deal with depression and anxiety, like to the highest level that sometimes
Mm,
my doctor will watch me and be like, "You okay, like you all right?" And I just feel like I'm trying. And I know that sometimes because of that, as somebody that's like I be itching to be very creative. And so it's like sometimes that hampers like, being able to write, like whether it's for like my Substack or whether it's like writing a story because I've been trying to write a book for like probably 4 years at this point. And
mhm,
I've started this book over like 3 times. But that's another story. Um but like those type of things. And so I've been trying to, be consistent of at least the little moments of um bursts of like energy and stuff of
mhm.
imagination and things that I'm just like, okay, let's get into it because come high, come low, as much as I try to do it, uh political science and being a political scientist is not the most creative,
Mhm.
you know, avenue. And so even though I try my best to like, you know, be as creative I can in how I
In
present
that
theory
container.
and stuff like that. Sometimes it's like I'm just still in this box, right? And so, just kind of like pushing out and try to like do different things. Again, like I said, like just bringing back doing podcasting and stuff again. Like, yeah, so I think tying that into the whole thing about just gratitude and everything
Yeah,
in
I
between
mean,
is like,
I used to not consider myself a creative, because I was like, I used to want to write. I used to want, because I also have a Substack and I'm currently working on like a website, which is something that I have been wanting to do. Even with my content creation, I fall off quite often. I'm always like, if you could be more consistent, you would be further ahead.
that's how I feel.
Um, like I'm always on my, yeah, but I've written about this for my Substack about how all we have in life is again. We have now and we have again,
Mhm.
and each day is an invitation to go again. So if I go missing and anybody get a post from me for weeks, months, years on maybe one medium, I have learned to give myself grace because each day, literally, the sun goes up again, the moon sets again, um, tide waters, oceans go in and out.
Mhm.
Literally, life is about again. And with each opportunity of again, maybe I don't take the again step tomorrow. Maybe I get it in a week, but I came again. And that's the only thing I'm willing to. That's the thing that's one of the things that I really hold on to. And it's hard, right? Like it's hard when you're trying to do things and life causes you to stop your emotions, your hormone imbalances. It's like, damn, I'm just a girl. But
Honestly.
I'm just a girl. Like, give me a break. But I just try to remind myself all I have is again. And
Mhm.
the worst thing that I can do is never go again. Yeah, like if I fell off and I started again, that would still be better than never going.
That makes so much sense. That is like so much perspective. And I think, and you can apply that to so many things as well. It's like
Mm-hmm.
so many different things. And I guess, copying again and again, one place you be again all the time is the airport. Oh, I just be minding people business on the story. And every other week, you're just like, yeah, guys, where am I going next? And I'm just like, oh, where are you going next? Like, what like puts you to be like, yeah, I'm going to be this traveler, shoddy. I could just stay on a plane, stay somewhere.
Um, okay, so I believe in astrology,
Mhm.
right? So I'm a Sagittarius, that's my sun sign, and
Mhm.
that's a sign of travel. We love to travel. And I have always wanted to travel since I was little. Like, I just think that the world is big and I must go see it. Like,
I agree.
I would watch documentaries, I'd watch TV shows, I'd read, I'd be in the atlas looking like, oh my God, here, there, everywhere exists. And I always found it really fascinating. And growing up, I got a few opportunities to travel when I was a kid. Like I went to Dominica, St. Lucia, the US, Puerto Rico. I think that's really, yeah, I think that's where I went like as a child. And then university gave me a couple more, my education gave me a couple more opportunities. And, I finished academia. Well, for now, I finished academia um, in the pandemic year. So you can imagine I wasn't going nowhere. But I had always had this desire to go more places and see the world, especially because I love one of my favorite things, ways to experience the world is through food. I love food. Um, and so again, like I remember I would have planned trips, they got canceled, but I was like, I'm gonna make it happen now. The year was around 2021, 2022. I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop thinking about this because I had thought about planned trips. I had started making them and things happened. Like I was supposed to go to Cuba once. The airline fall through. Like I was supposed to go see Jamaica, like after law school, really go around, travel around Jamaica. The pandemic happened. And then how long the pandemic happens. I was like, no, I'm gonna make it happen. Like I'm gonna see more places. And yeah, I will say my activism has given me a good amount of opportunities and so does has my work. But I've begun organizing my life in such a way that travel is like a very high on my priority list. And in particular this year, well, towards the end of last year, I decided that I was gonna really live like a nomad for 2025 and I gave up my apartment, which I kind of believe I did sometimes, but that was I needed to give it up as well, but I gave up my apartment. Um, and I decided I was going to Thailand for a work meeting. And I decided if I'm going to go halfway across the world,
Yeah.
I might as well spend some time here. But even before that, I would like, if I have a work meeting or something, I'll try to maybe extend a couple of days or go to see another place close by. But it's just this desire to see the world, experience the world, eat all the food, visit all the beautiful places, um, and just bask in the gratitude. So this year is a little chaotic. I literally was in Barbados for something, came home. Came home for about 36 hours, 48, about 36 to 48 hours. I hopped on a plane to get to Mexico, where I am now. Was in Mexico for some professional stuff. I was in the city, and now I'm in Oaxaca for personal because I've always wanted to come here. And then I have a next trip coming up just soon. Um, yeah, I'm very excited about
That's
that one.
good.
I'll share. The girl is going to Trinidad, and I'm very excited about that.
That's gonna be
Um,
good.
I know. I've been to
Really good.
Trinidad for their carnival, but never played. I went
So
when
you
I
playing
was
math?
playing with Lost Tribe. Listen, I'm very excited. I'm very unprepared. Very unprepared. I legit I just ordered my shoes. But it don't matter. I'm gonna have time.
It's gonna be good. It's
Uh,
gonna be good.
it's good. It's gonna be good. And but I will also say community has been a great resource as I travel. Shout out again, Yui, because ain't no Caribbean island I can go to. I don't think that I don't at least English speaking or Caricom Island. I don't think I don't know somebody, and that continues to expand for me as I live my life. Um, and I just shout out to all the people who have told me I could come and stay on the couch or um stay in the spare bedroom. Cause now talking about I'm being a digital nomad, it ain't that easy.
Yeah.
And but if any Airbnbs or hotels wanna collaborate with your girl, she's
Hey,
open.
get that sponsorship. Get that collaboration
Yeah,
immediately. No,
yeah.
I love it. I love traveling myself. I very thankful. I've had a lot of opportunities as a young person to travel. Um, whether mostly for like camps and conferences and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So the furthest place I've actually been was I've been to Cape Town, South Africa. Um went
I'm
there
so jealous.
2013. Yeah, we went 2013 for like this big, because I was a part of the Girls Brigade and we had this big conference thing in Cape Town. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was, I think that was the longest travel I've done, because of course went through the Netherlands. That was like an 8 hour flight. No, I like we flew into Paris. So we did like about 9 hours into Charles de Gaulle, which by the way, I
Mm-hmm.
hate Charles de Gaulle. We went into Charles de Gaulle. Then we went to Schiphol, and then from Schiphol it was a 12 hour flight
Yep.
from Schiphol to Cape Town on KLM. The seats are this big. I was I by the window? I was by the window, and this Dutch lady keep leaning on me. I'm like
I'm that kind
14
of
years.
person.
I'm 14 years old. I'm stressed. We're going over the Sahara Desert. My period shows up. I'm just like, it
No.
was so much. And then we landed, and then Kellum tells us, "Oh, your bags are here."
Those. No, no, no.
I was just like, "Oh my god!" So the beginning of the trip was very stressful. I'll say that,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a good experience. Um, and of course, also learned so much about South Africa and apartheid and all that stuff. It was like very like wide opening to like, so like those experiences and stuff, and just I'm like also like a history nerd. I also love food a lot as well. So, like between history and food, and just being able to like travel all around the place. But yeah, my goals these next couple of years, honestly, is to focus on the region, just because like I've been everywhere else.
Yeah.
And
The region has so much to offer. And let me tell you, I'm so mad at Caribbean governments. I'm so mad. I'm so mad.
Lord, I
We got
agree.
big beef. Me and them got big beef when it comes to interregional travel. Because it is such an untapped market and we're doing it's so from a market perspective, it's untapped.
Mhm.
From a cultural and regional perspective, it's a disservice to our people.
Mhm.
Um, because you can imagine, like, CARICOM and OECS, free movement, blah, blah. That's what we're supposed to be working towards, especially with CARICOM.
Mhm.
And I know St. Martin isn't a part of CARICOM, but even
That's our
out,
own issue. Me.
but even out, yeah, but I'm saying even outside of countries that are within the CARICOM bloc,
Mhm.
um, there have been talks about like Caribbean governments removing the taxes for intra-regional travel. They ain't doing that. And
Mhm.
I don't know what it costs to run an airline. I don't know. I'm just a girl. But I would encourage anybody who listens to this podcast to go on one of the Caribbean airline websites. I'm not specifically calling out any airline, but any of the air carriers in the region and put in a ticket and then look at the
Look at the
taxes.
taxes. Yeah.
Look at the taxes.
Yeah.
And I know their taxes are a significant portion of our revenue, but I know there's research that's been done that shows that Caribbean people spend in the local economy, so you're getting it. You don't need to eke it out to them through the taxes. And it just is the Caribbean is so like we're different. We're similar, but we're also different.
Mhm.
I haven't been everywhere in the region yet, but everywhere I've been, I've enjoyed. Um, I I will say I have one country that I didn't have a good experience in, and that's not the country. that's the airline who put me up,
No.
because it was one of those they mess up your flight, so they have to put
Yeah.
you up, and they put me up in the scariest hotel of my life. Um, and so, but I always say I want to visit that country
Mm-hmm.
to what's the word, to have a different experience, to reclaim it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the Caribbean, 10 out of 10. I did a trip last year that I went to Anguilla, St. Martin, Seychelles, St. Eustatius, and St. Bart's in
Mm-hmm.
one trip. It was pricey,
You're better
definitely.
than me. I can see St.
Eh,
Bart's. I've never been to St. Bart's, you know.
well, St. Bart's, baby, she a little too expensive. Um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
St. Bart's, but she nice. I was intrigued about St. Bart's though, because I remember, the people who were there, many didn't look like what I would
Yeah.
consider Caribbean people.
Yes.
And then the people who, could have, who, typically look like Caribbean people, had a very different accent. Um, and so actually don't think I met anyone who was indigenous to
Mm-hmm.
St. Bart's. Even maybe one person, I think, or if not, this was at the airport staff, and I think they weren't. I think they came from like Anguilla or St. Martin to work in St. Bart's. And so St. Bart's, it's interesting to me.
It's very tourist. Like it's that haven. Like even I was talking about aviation with a friend of mine last night, and we were just like, yeah, like when your private jets come in to our big airports, they're here, they clear immigration. Oh yeah, they go on St. Bart's. A celebrity land in St. Martin, 9 out of the 10 times, they're like, oh yeah, we transfer them, they gone St. Bart's. Like that is what St. Bart's is. It's so fascinating to me. I
It it
can't afford
definitely
it.
it definitely was fascinating to me. I'm glad I got to experience it. I don't think I'll be going back on my own dime though. Not saying I won't ever be back, but I just don't think it'll be my money. Um, but it was interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. It was an interesting experience. But it's very beautiful though. It's very
It is.
beautiful. But
Yeah, it is.
I was just like, so where the locals at? I think I asked somebody where they at. They were like, what locals grow up? Um, so very, very interesting place.
But I agree with you. Our regional travel, it is cheaper for me. I've done this twice, by the way, and this will have been the first time I've ever been to St. Kitts, and then the second. Like I've only been to St. Kitts other than stopping over when going to Antigua as an adult,
Uh,
and it's cheaper for me to catch a boat to Angola and go on the small trans-Angola flight over to reach the St. Kitts than to go from St. Kitts from St. Martin on a straight direction.
yeah, and okay, so again, I'm also not opposed. Another thing though, I'm not necessarily opposed to Caribbean travel, including like ferries and boats, which more of us need to have. Like, no reason that I can see St. Kitts and I had to go
And
on
I
a
don't,
flight.
I don't mind the ferry because there's actually a ferry that goes from St. Martin.
Yeah.
It's St. Martin Station, St. Kitts. I guess you say.
No,
So,
no,
yeah,
no, no. Yeah, no,
I
no.
can't be on those waters. Those waters are a
I,
little too dramatic.
too
Yeah,
roughly.
yeah.
No, so it's. I'm making the point to say two part. I want us
Hmm.
to explore alternate
Yes.
modes of transport besides flying, and then I also want flying to be more economical. And again, I know there's a lot of. I've been thinking about doing research on this, actually, not scholarly research, just
Hmm.
um curiosity research on like this Caribbean airspace and like how it works,
Hmm.
because we're too small. Like, I want to pay 100 US. I want to pay 70 US, 50 US. I want to pay 50 US and go somewhere for the weekend. Like, that's why you should be paying. Like, I want to pay like a $40, take a little backpack, and go about my business. Like, it's the truth. And I know if I can speak for myself, I can speak for my peers. A lot of us say, if travel was cheaper, we'd be island hopping all the time.
Yes.
An event would be happening in one place and I would be in it. Like, we are really not, we're doing injustice to ourselves. I also think, and people don't like small planes. I've heard a lot of people say they're not going in no small plane. And I think Caribbean people, again, this is to me as a Caribbean people saying, y'all are part of the problem. Why do you want to be in a Boeing 737 to go somewhere next door?
Okay.
You can see the island. Why you need a big plane? No, like this is a real question I ask people all the time. Why you can't go in a small plane? Oh, I don't want to see the
So
pilot.
wait, even
But
they don't even want to go into like an ATR?
no, a lot of people don't want to travel in small planes. Like, and I think
ATRs
maybe
are
like
fine.
they're fine, they're cute, they're nice. Me and the pilot can have like a talky talk. I don't mind. But also, and this is something that can apply to many other industries in the region. I said to someone recently, why don't you trust like small planes and pilots in the Caribbean? Because like we have a track record. We're not a part of the world that has a track record for a lot of crashes and a lot of like plane disasters. So why you can't go in a small plane?
We
Like,
also have one of the most skilled pilots in the region. Like if you are going, let's say, I think a good example would say, for example, Winner. If you're flying on Winner, your pilots are have to be one of the most skilled pilots because one, landing in Sabre is literally insane.
mm-hmm.
The strip is this and it's off a
Yeah.
cliff. Your pilot has to be
Okay.
able to do that.
Exactly. So that's what I said to people. I said you don't give our experts their flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me extends to many other arenas of expertise. I'm about to go on a soapbox here. This also applies to the Caribbean Court of Justice. Um, and this applies to how people don't see our judges as
Mm-hmm.
competent. And it's insane to me because have you met us? This is not like I remember I said to my family, like we Auntie was doing the referendum, which unfortunately failed.
Mm-hmm.
But some people were like, oh, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. These lawyers, right? I don't trust Caribbean people. And I said to someone in my family, I said, you essentially don't trust me. You recognize that's what you're saying? Like, it's okay to send me to go to law school. It's okay to facilitate my education. But you're literally saying you don't trust me, the education I have received, the competencies that I have to adjudicate at the highest level. Um, and so I want us to consider when you're talking about, oh, I'm not doing that. Um, where is it coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it coming from? So many people say to me they're not gonna do small planes, and I'm just like, one on one is not making two. Like, or they complain about having to stop here, there, and everywhere when they just go in one place. Yeah, babes. Yeah, babes. Yeah, that's how it works.
Sometimes that's just how it is. Like
That
I
whole like
think when I went to Vincent, we start thinking sure before we reach the certain.
like okay, can we acknowledge yes, it is a bus. Like let's move on. Like we do have a bus system in the region, folks. Let's move on. But again, I'm gonna give Caribbean air providers, air carriers, I'm gonna give them free game. And why aren't y'all doing stopover programs? Since we got to stop anyways, where the stopover programs? I got to stop. I don't have a choice to
Mm-hmm.
be in. I'm in the bus have to stop. Incentivize it. right? There's just a lot of things that I don't know if why I can see it, but other people can. I don't know what it, again, and maybe people see it, but there are restraints that I don't know about. But like, for example, the stopover program, it's insane to me. Like, why don't we have more of them? One more thing on the Caribbean airline, air travel. British Airways runs routes in the Caribbean.
Yes.
People, Caribbean air providers, British Airways is running routes in the Caribbean. You know why? They're stopover routes. Literally. The route from Antigua to Aruba is because British Airways flies Antigua and then they go to Aruba. So the people said, you know what? Let's pick up some people in Antigua too. They said, we're running a route. Huh. I'm just,
KLM runs from St. Martin to Trinidad.
okay.
When I first realized that, I'm like, wait, this Dutch airline going Trinidad. And then I was like, oh wait, picking up people from Suriname, the other Guyans. I was like, okay, this makes sense. But at first I was just like, but they see the market and they're just like, yeah.
They see the market. They see the market. And also the reality, like why y'all can't see the market. I don't know. Get it together. Get it together. But also Caribbean people, no, this is the next thing because Caribbean people don't mind going on the big British Airways plane. Oh God, go on the ATR. Yeah. Go on the little plane.
I understand people's scaredness on like the small, like I don't know if you see the Trans-England planes.
That's a fine plane to me. I've been on it.
I've been on it. I've been fine, but I understand people reservations are going to small. Why ATR?
Why? No, but okay, but why are you sorry? I hear you. I hear people with their reservations about the small plane because, okay, like you know, you got the window one, all kind of thing. I mean, it's like, but again, have you heard of? But have you heard that these planes have had incidents? No. So like so go where you're going. Because also when you go around the world, and this is from someone who travels, you know, queerly often, even if I haven't been to certain places, when I look up routes to go to places, I check things online. Yeah, sometimes some of these remote locations is gorgeous. Yes, babe,
You
it's
gotta
a
go on this
seaplane.
small thing. Yeah.
It's the same small plane. It's the same thing. And so this is now my storyteller brain, right? Everything I think about has a lot to do with the way we tell stories about things. And I would love us to reimagine the way we tell the story of Caribbean travel. Um, and maybe I can do something about it on my own. But I would love us to reimagine the story of Caribbean travel. Um, so that we can say life nice when we in our neighboring island. I shouldn't be seeing St. Kitts and saying, boy, but that ticket's steep to get there.
That's me. Very you know, you're just driving over the hill and I just like, oh, I can see St. Kitts there. I was just like, oh boy, what is the road? Like, how am I getting ticket today? Like, I remember shout out, this is gonna be a shout out to Dennis. Shout out to Dennis one time. He was like, I could see you hanging up your panty on your line and I gotta spend all this money to reach over to. And I was just like,
No,
yeah.
but it's true. It's true. And it's ridiculous. Ain't no way we could be having these experiences and it's like it's hard to get around. Another region I don't know. I haven't been there yet. I haven't been onto the African continent yet. But I hear that travel on the African continent is also chaotic. Sometimes you literally have to leave the continent to go to Europe to come back. And I know people in the Caribbean who leave the Caribbean, go to the US to come
Yeah,
back down.
I had to do that to do Cayman. You gotta do that to go to the Bahamas. I know people do that to go to
Yeah,
CI. Yes.
you have to do that to Jamaica. Jamaicans do that a lot to get to the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. Um, what I will say to that though is, again, this is why I need to do more reading and research for myself. Is I ain't got no doubt I have to do with colonialism. Um, and powers that somewhat at bay. Um, And so I just need, I don't know, I need Caribbean people, leaders, people, everybody to get some backbone and shift this space, to shift this space. Maybe I need to call Dennis. Maybe I need to say, hey, Dennis, you come and impart some knowledge on me because you know everything about aviation. And maybe, Camila, I'm going to throw an idea out there. Maybe we could do another one of these with like from the traveling perspective and the
Yeah,
aviation perspective. And we just talk some things out because I got some questions and I need some answers. And I think the people would benefit from something like that.
I agree, honestly. Shout out to the good doctor.
Yeah.
We support you. Uh, but no, it's so crazy. And it's crazy because, if it's one thing we like to be big and boasty, we want Caribbean, we want people, we all family. But how I can't see my family?
I can't see my cousin. I can't to the left and
I
I can see
haven't
my
I
cousin.
haven't been to Antigua since 2016.
That's
Simply
insane.
just because every time you look at the ticket, you just
And you see, I do want to put a level of personal responsibility. I'm not on you, but on Caribbean people as well, because people tell me, well, I looked at the ticket and it's XYZ to get to Antigua or to go to Tobago from here is this and that. I know, but if I compare it, I can go to Miami. Yes, that's
Mhm.
true. That's true. And this is not directed at you, but this is my other thought process is, yeah, you can go to Miami, you can go to New York, but you have to also recognize inherent value
Mhm.
in why, yes, it's pricey, but oh, I find it valuable to go spend a week, 2 weeks in a Caribbean island. And people sometimes the experiences you're looking for, people think you have to leave the Caribbean for them.
Yeah,
You don't.
don't.
I went to Thailand.
Mhm.
Thailand is she's cute, she's nice.
Mhm.
But let me tell y'all something. People who are not from the Caribbean said to me, beaches.
Uh,
Girls don't eat the beaches. Blouse and skirt, pants and shirt. Me say with the beach. Listen, always the beaches.
no, I get it. I've noticed that if it's one thing about us, we're very particular on what we call a beach and what is a beach
Yeah,
and how a beach look and how we're supposed to act. Like I live near, I live literally in front of the Atlantic Ocean, right? Right. And when I'm here, they were like, "So you're going?" Like some of my American friends, they were like, "Oh my God, you got a beach? You going to the water?" I said, "What water? Who water?" I said,
I
"Do you
gotta
know
go.
where I'm from?" And they're like, "No, you gotta go." And they're like, "Yeah, when I come visit you, we're going to the beach." I say, I stand up in the sun. I stand up by the sun. I look at the water. They're like, "No, we have to go in." Which I cannot see the bottom of the which water.
I was in Thailand, pack swimsuit, One on one. I said, them, okay, I'm with the beach. Beach. Me as a good Antiguan, you want me to go? No. And so that's the thing. Like we have a lot to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Food. Hey, the Caribbean region, food tastes good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I, I feel I'm saying this, and I bring up the story, the narrative, and I keep saying to Zoe, maybe as I'm saying these things about the narratives and the stories we tell, I'm like, I owe it, so maybe I can do so. I'm just thinking about the way I, through my content and my writing, can better amplify what we have to offer because we have a lot to offer. Um, and
I
uh,
agree.
I've been around the world and
We got it. We
we
got
got it,
it.
we got it. We got it, but we also have to do better with it.
Mhm.
Um in particular, I think with our food is delicious, but I think we need to one thing I want us to do better with is telling the story of our food and using um traditional ingredients in our fine dining spaces, and really recognizing that a lot of the flavors and things that we have around, people are using them and they're not even using them as good as we do.
That makes sense. And I think sometimes you only really see that come out a lot during, I guess, like people in restaurant week when you choose the specific local something and the restaurant's like, yeah, we could make this, but like why are you not making this
But like, make it every week.
regularly?
Like,
Yeah.
make it regularly, make it a staple. I love experimentation. I'm thinking of a couple places I went. So I'm thinking of this place in Tobago, round called Caribbean, and also Peg Farm, Barbados. Both of these places to me, have taken um food and flavors, dishes from the Caribbean, and elevated them. Peg Farm, I was just there last week, no, week before last. And they had a June Scotch egg. And I was like, Scotch egg, right? What it actually was an elevated egg ball. And if you're Guyanese people would know what an egg ball is, but if you're unfamiliar, an egg ball is they use cassava. There's a boiled egg inside the cassava, and then they fry it. And it's usually with like a pepper sauce and a tamarind sauce, sour, as Guyanese have. When I was in Guyana, I ate one of those, like one or two of those every day, and I was in Guyana for a month, and everybody at CARICOM just kept telling me about my cholesterol. But egg ball is one of the Guyanese greatest contribution to the world. My personal opinion. But one of the chefs at Peg Farm has Guyanese heritage and had elevated the egg ball and made it a part of this meal that we had. And there were other things that were good. We had a plantain gnocchi. Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah.
This, do you see? Yeah. And it was so good. I'm still thinking about it right now.
I wonder if I could make that. Sorry. That's just
I'm sure
like
you can. No, I'm sure you can. But do you see what I mean when I talk about like taking flavors and taking our dishes, taking our ingredients and saying, yeah, let me experiment. Another dish that I want to talk about is fungi. It's fungi in Antigua, which is our local dish. Cuckoo in Barbados, ton cornmeal in Jamaica and other places. Or in Europe, polenta, right?
never thought about that.
It's polenta. I went to this restaurant in Tobago, Brown called Caribbean, and it was a polenta. That's what they called it. They had a polenta. They did it with like a surf and turf pork belly with like shrimp, but there was this fresh cucumber kind of thing, and then there was some plantain. Yeah, that's all food. That's all food, and I want more of that.
Type of experiment. Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a couple not like fancy chefy things. That's cool. That's it. Funny thing I can make food. But even like with baking and stuff, for me, I try a lot to like incorporate Caribbean stuff. Like for example, right now I don't make cheesecake unless I have a pack of Shirley biscuit. That's my crust. My crust is
No,
Shirley
let's.
biscuit. It's a Shirley biscuit crust. I did it once or twice and I was like, wait, no, this is my cheesecake. No matter what type of cheesecake it
Does
is, the crust has to be Shirley biscuit. It's Shirley biscuit.
no. But you need to just okay. Like, I don't even be making. I don't believe in baking in my household. Um, I no. Listen, li- baking is an exact science, and I'm not one of those people, right? I cook by throwing. Let me taste that. That need like a more. No, I'm gonna try some more. I That's how I cook. I never follow the recipe to the T in my life. I Bacon. If you just put teaspoon more flour,
That's a
everything
different.
go right.
That's a
No,
different.
no, I'm not into that. But I am into the eating of baked goods.
Yeah.
And so what I will say is that sounds delicious.
Shirley
Yeah.
biscuit. I've
Put that
done
out there in the
a
world.
I've done a made some brownies and I was like, oh, I want to put like glaze on it, like the brownies wasn't sweetened. Anyways, um, I did like an orange and a guava berry rum. I had a bottle of guava berry rum, and I just made that as a glaze, and I was just like, wait, this actually tastes good. To be honest, I just be like doing stuff in the kitchen. I'm just like, let me.
But that is it. I love the idea of experimenting though. Like I had this shitty experience at an Antiguan restaurant where nothing on the menu. It was just no at a they have a restaurant, they have a bar. And out of the bar food, all of it had gluten. And I am gluten intolerant. I'm not allergic,
Mhm.
but I really try my best to stay away.
Yeah.
Um Sometimes I don't try that hard. But in that time I was trying that hard.
Uh-huh.
Because it do have me feeling a little shitty or whatever.
Mhm.
And anyways, I went and it was maybe the only thing I could have had was like some fries.
Mhm.
Anyways, it don't hurt to ask if I could get the wings unbreaded.
Mhm.
It's like, do you have wings that have not been breaded yet? Fry them up and give them to me. Anyways, long story short, I ended up speaking to the chef. I did not call for the chef. I promise y'all I wasn't that person. But I ended up having a conversation with the chef and he actually had like a very blasé, like don't care response.
Mhm.
And I was so pissed off because you mean you can't do some breadfruit supping? You mean you can't make some plantain chips? You mean you can't stamp and go as Jamaicans call tostones? You patacon, or they would call in Dominican Republic. You
Mhm.
mean you mean we ain't got no cassava, no yeah, no we ain't got nothing
And
in this
and
Caribbean
cassava
that you
fries is such a big like trend or something like that. Like these days, like people love it.
they do. And it's the same way people wasn't in the Caribbean in restaurants they weren't serving avocado. But now avocado's big because it's now global.
Mhm.
But we have it. Wait, what do you eat?
I
You
don't
mean to
eat
tell me
avocado, but everybody
okay,
else, everybody
but
else
like but not
love a good piece of pear
uh,
with their food. Like,
yeah, oh, there you. That's how I know you because I only eat. Fun fact, I don't really love fruits. Truth be told, I only eat one pea in this world, and it's the avocado. I am not eating that sweet fake apple kind of thing that I ain't want that. But give me a piece of pear, but
hmm
just cut up that in the beautiful green and yellow.
don't really. But I support. I support it
No,
all of
but
it.
this is what I mean. We're fumbling the bag in the
Yeah,
region.
that's true.
So I just implore, again, I'm gonna just implore Caribbean restaurants, Caribbean people, blah, 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 to really think about what we have and the story you can tell with it, the narrative that you are engaging with it now, and the narrative that you can engage with it going forward. And that once we, I think, I may think if we tell better stories about ourselves, our region, and what we have, I think the Caribbean will be a different place.
Great. I agree. Wow, this is a great conversation. Honestly, I love this. I want to talk more, but I realize I also have to edit this, so let me not talk too much more. So it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna dislike myself. But I do have one more thing. Nothing
Mhm.
related to anything that we've been talking about for the last 4. Nothing. So some countries in the Caribbean, election season coming up, and I just been
Uh,
minding everybody business. I don't know if you guys have this in Antigua, but
mhm.
one thing in St. Martin is we always have political jingles. The political jingles just get stuck in your head.
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm currently minding Angola has elections slated for the end of the month. So
Yeah, I've seen that.
I'm currently minding the business all the time. And I'm not gonna say anything before y'all be like, work for one party. But it has like a big jingle going around. And when I tell you, I'm in my sleep and it's just running in my head, just going and going and going and going. And then they had me thinking about like, oh, like how political jingles work in St. Martin. I remember, Differentology by
Yeah.
Bridget Allen. One year, one of the politicians, instead of saying like we're ready for the road, they were like, so it was like Theo, his campaign jingle was like, we're ready for Theo. And that was on the radio. Every
Yeah, that
single
I that's something I love about Caribbean politics. Like it's a little annoying, but it's very characteristic of Caribbean politics. Like the dub plates, and it was be so lit. No, like I love it actually. And then sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're like dubs of songs, but then also some of these are original songs. And
yes.
one that's coming to my head. Listen to me. I am not affiliated with any political party in Antigua and Barbuda. I just cannot get the song out of my head since childhood. So we have the Antigua Labour Party, as you know, and there was 1 year jingle. We vote in UPP again. Nothing worse than Labour pain. Listen, listen, listen. Since my childhood, so clever, so clever.
That is funny. That is funny. Yeah, they make it to stick into your head for just like songs. One of our most tenured politicians. Like she been in there my whole life. Like, all right, when we tell you that COVID, but I remember she had a song, um, Jack Jack here, yeah. She had Call
Uh,
on Me.
yeah.
Anytime you need a lover,
Yes,
call on me.
it,
Her song was anytime you need a leader, call on Sarah. Call like that was her.
it's catchy.
And
Like
I was
it
just
is a
like, this is stuck in my. I mean, it's over 10 years at this point. Maybe almost
mm,
closer to
we
20
have
years.
yeah, we have songs like that too. And it's something about Caribbean politics. Honestly, I find so intriguing, but I find it so funny and cool. Um, Caribbean politics is messed up and it's many different ways, but that's
Yeah.
something that just bring me a little. I mean, I hate to hear it when it's election time and they're going around on the cars early in the morning. But I do like the fun that they bring, and I'd be like, okay, who coming out with the song next?
What's up next? It's
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Yeah. So yeah, the people that saw, and again, Anguilla is too small, and I want you to say I with this and with that. But the song is stuck in my head, consist in my dreams. I'm just like, I need to be. And there's a accompanying dance with it too. And I'm just like,
Oh no, no, that's too
them
much.
got choreography. Them got choreography. So I'm just like, yeah, this is word in my head. But thank you so much for being here
You are
this
so welcome.
morning. And thank you so much. Where can the people like connect with you?
So you can connect with me on Instagram and Threads as Zoe.Mercedes. I am not using X as no Twitter. I'm not
Sometimes.
using Twitter as much anymore. I'm on there, but I'm not there as actively. So Instagram and Threads are where you can find me. I have a Substack, zoemercedes.substack.com. And very soon you will be able to find me on zoemercedes.com. So I'm sure by the time this podcast goes live, go look me up on my website, go follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my Substack, and let's connect. This year I have some interesting things I'm working on. Um, so travel, lifestyle, and gratitude, some interesting things I want y'all to lock into. And I'm gonna put this call out there. I am open for more invitations for conversations of this nature for collaborations, for travel and different things. So I just want to put name that I am open to these types of invitations once they are aligned. So hit your girl up and let's continue to amplify amazing Caribbean people.
Yes, yes, yes. So you heard what she said. She said, contact her. So I don't want to hear nobody be like, oh, but I don't know who to talk to, and blah, 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 blah. She said, talk to her. So I don't
Like
know.
let's
Like,
talk. Let's talk. We have a lot to talk about, especially, you know, just with so much that's happening in the region. And I got so much to talk about when it comes to gratitude. Me and Camila didn't even get into the we could have gone deep because plenty reasons to say life nice, thank you more, please.
exactly. And with that, I am your host, Camila Gons, and this is the You Chat Too Much podcast. Hope we see you next time. Thank you.